if I recall from the pre-show notes, you said that you personally like traditional dating. Do you consider yourself traditional?
As far as my work, no. Okay. But it's like,
right,
in my personal life, yes. Like I like traditional roles, with the man.
What does that look like?
For me, it's just like a man that's dominant, that will approach me, that has something that maybe I don't have. Like, I don't know, like that can bring like me happiness, and like it's just, for me, I feel like I do better in relationships where the man is the dominant one. Like, even simple things like planning a date instead of, leaving it up to me. You know what I mean? Like, I just like that dominant role in being the submissive one in a relationship.
So then, other than naming a thing, which is reciprocal, what I mean by reciprocal is, if I ask you this question, what do you bring to the table then that you would want this from a man? Without naming a trait which is going to be reciprocal, meaning he's bringing the same thing, what of value are you going to be bringing to this relationship?
I feel like that's subjective only because
Totally subjective, sure.
Well, the man would decide that. So it's like, if he doesn't think I'm good enough to date him.
Well, no. In this case, I'm asking you what you think. I assume that he's going to, that this potential guy is going to come up with all sorts of different metrics for whatever those are. But you specifically, from your perception, what would you be bringing?
Ulysses the Pagan donated $200. Part of the feminist indoctrination, they put a chips in Gen Z and Alpha's head, overriding their cerebral cortex, making them say woman as the plural for motives only known by Nancy Pelosi and Mahsa Amini.
Yeah, that's definitely about me.
I don't get it. What does that mean?
Thank you, Pagan. Thank you, Pagan, for the TTS.
He's saying that when Gen Z women are born, the doctor puts a microchip in their brain, which causes a short circuit along their cerebral cortex. So when they say woman as a plural form of women, that's why.
It's a troll comment.
Okay.
Wait, you don't believe that?
No.
That's because he's trolling.
No, I know.
You didn't know. You can't play it off now. You messed it all up. You can't play it off.
Just a girl.
You were so close. So close. Anyway, so back to this question. Yeah, what would you be bringing to the table, do you think, that is non-reciprocal?
So, like, if a man sees me on the street or something, like, what would be the traits that he would see that would draw him in?
No. What would you be bringing to the table that he wouldn't be bringing to the table?
In the context of what? Like, I'm confused.
Of a relationship.
Like, as far as, like, the maturity?
Anything.
I mean, I don't know. It's just, like, I'm trying to be, like, open without thinking about, like, too, like, narrow-minded, like, you know what I mean?
Can you restate back to us the multiple traits that you listed out that you want in a man?
I was saying I like a dominant man.
Yep.
Is established, mature, and I guess not an asshole. I don't know.
But so it's very easy for you to answer what you're looking for. But why is it a little harder for, like, here's all the traits that I want in a guy. Why can't you just as easily say, here's what I'm bringing?
So what are those things?
I mean, for me personally, like, it's definitely hard to, like, narrow things down because, like,
But you don't seem to have any trouble narrowing them down for what you want.
Right, because that's in my perspective of what I want. But it's like, it's hard for us as people to reflect that inward and know what traits. You know what I mean?
Really? Wait a second.
In my opinion, because I can easily...
Wait, don't you know yourself the best? You've been living with yourself for 19 years. You know everything there is to know about you. So how would you not be able, if you're looking externally about men who I might not even know, I want X, Y, Z. But why can't you just list out, well, here's what I'm bringing. Here's me. This is what I bring.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just hard to, like...
Okay, that's fair.
You know, I think it's just the phrasing is.
Let me ask the second part of the question. What baggage would you bring?
Baggage? I mean, relationship-wise or just in general? Relationship? Baggage-wise, I mean, I guess if they were to look at my sexual things, you know, like I guess body count or my profession, the fact that I don't have a lot of relationship experience, I think age could also play a factor because that comes with the lack of experience.
So we have at least four pieces of baggage.
Right.
Can we get one positive that you're going to be bringing to this relationship that's non-reciprocal?
From what men have told me, like in my personal life, they like me because I'm honest with them. I'm funny, like in my personal
Those are
life.
reciprocal traits, though. You would expect honesty as you're getting honesty, right?
Right.
So that's a reciprocal trait. It's a non-reciprocal trait that you think you would bring.
Something that would benefit him, no? By being with you?
I mean, yeah. I mean that's why I was saying it's up to the individual. Like I'm not gonna be like, I don't know. Like I'm just not like, I don't have like a giant ego. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna be like, oh, he's gonna get to date the baddest bitch around and blah blah blah. Like to me, that's subjective to whatever man I'm dating or whatever man finds interest. It's up to him to find those traits in me that he is attracted to, and that's different for everybody.
Wait, so
How
so
about,
nothing?
like, I feel like I have like just a different question that kind of would give the same answer. Like, what do you think a traditional man who's dominant, who's a provider, and all those things you listed would want in a woman?
Did she say, I don't know if she said provider, although that would be an entailment of being
Traditional.
Do you want a provider? Okay. So that, I'm assuming you want a guy to pay for the first date, right?
To lead.
You want a guy to pay,
That's what she said.
would you want a guy to pay for like subsequent dates too? Like provider.
Yeah, like I mean, I think that comes with the dominant role.
Okay. So you would be submissive then? Mm-hmm. I assume that's what you would bring.
Right.
So I have a question. If you were dating a guy and he told you, I want you to stop doing porn, would you be submissive and listen to him?
If I loved someone, absolutely.
What if you didn't love him?
Then I would not stop. I
But
wouldn't
you're
be
in a
with
relationship with him.
I wouldn't be in a
Well, what if
relationship.
you don't love him yet?
That's possible.
That's pointless to me because I'm like, if we're not, I don't know, if I don't love you yet, I'm not gonna quit my job for you.
Yeah, but somebody can grow to love somebody. That's very possible.
Right.
How
But
about if
I'm
he
not
doesn't know
gonna
if he
cut
loves
off
you
my
yet?
financials because you told me.
He's providing.
Right. But it's like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I would want to be in love with someone for them to, like, cut off, like,
Or at least
what I do.
attraction, maybe not love, but like
Mhm.
attraction to them. Would you like give it up for them? Like
She ain't
that's-
giving up.
Like
And
let's
the
say
Giving
like
up.
2 months
If she's
into
attracted
the
to a dude.
relationship.
yeah, I mean, if I'm just attracted, like, I don't really care.
But
like,
it's like, how long does it take for you to fall in love with someone?
I don't know. I haven't been in love.
Okay.
Yeah.
A week for me.
So
Wait.
the last question I got for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why would a traditional man who had those traditional traits and values want somebody who
See,
is
now
doing
I'm
porn?
understanding, like, anyway. I'm not saying they would. I'm just saying what I like.
Yeah,
so
but-
it's like, for me, I'm not stupid. Like, I understand what I do as a job. I understand the way the world would view that in a
Mm-hmm.
negative light or whatever. And that, at the end of the day, that was my decision. So maybe it's harder for me to find a man
Sure.
that I want.
But let's circle.
You know what
all,
I mean? Mm-hmm.
We're going to circle all the way back now to the original question I asked you. Do you think that there's going to be any long-term ramifications from you doing corn? The response to this was everything except this answer,
Mm-hmm.
which is that it could definitely have significant problems when it came to the relationship that you would want with a man who had the traits, characteristics, and values that you're after.
Mm-hmm.
How come you left that out?
I wasn't thinking about that because most of the time when people bring it
You
up,
weren't
they always
thinking about it.
Well, they always bring up, oh, what about your family? What about your children? They're not thinking about like, oh, what about your future
I
relationships?
assume you're going to have children with somebody you're in love with.
Yeah, of
Then
course.
you want that person to have those values, right?
Of course.
That comes before the kid, right?
Of course.
So if that
I
comes,
just-
so
I
that
didn't
comes
think about
before
that
the kid. There's a step-by-step process here.
Right.
The type of man that you're after for the values, aren't you hamstringing yourself?
I mean, no, because I mean, at the end of the day, if a dude doesn't want me back, I'm not gonna chase it. Like, I'm not gonna look stupid
Yeah,
like
but why
that.
would a man who had values, structured values, and was traditional, which is what you want, why would he want to be with a Cornstar?
Right. I'm not saying a traditional man has to be.
So how's that not hamstringing yourself?
Well, because it's like I grew up in a household that was a Christian household.
Sure.
And so maybe it's just the way I grew up that it's kind of ingrained in me to like certain traits in a relationship. I'm not saying that's an indefinite to what I'd be looking for. Like, let's say I find someone and they're not even like that at all, but I love them and it works for us, that's fine too.
Really? You think that you're going to be able to change things like you want them to be dominant, a provider, have traditional values? You really think you're going to change what you're attracted to? Really?
I mean, if you love somebody, yeah.
Andrew, can I ask you a
absolutely.
question on this? Can a guy be dominant and a provider, but not be traditional?
Yes.
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 So that's what I mean. That's where I kind of think about this. Part of me, when these,
But there's an undercurrent here to look at. Yes. So in other words, I'm going to concede that this is logically possible.
right?
I don't ever see it though. Meaning that the types of men I think who desire to be in those roles generally seem to have a value structure which underpins why they want to be in those roles. Otherwise, what the hell would be the point? You just go out and be a promiscuous man whore and hump every chick you saw and lie to them, be a scumbag. There wouldn't really be any negative ramifications to that. So why not do that?
On the provider front, I do wonder though, like if there's like liberal cuck soy boy who's like just, you know, he's making, nothing precludes a liberal cuck soy boy from making a ton of money.
No.
So they can fall into the provider role. It's not clear if the dominant component is a little more
Yeah,
questionable.
but generally, but let me ask the counter to this.
yeah,
So the liberal cuck soy boy,
yeah.
why does he want to fall in the provider role?
That's a good question.
Maybe.
Well, it would occur to me
Maybe it's
that,
like instinct, because like, weren't you talking about like male instincts or something
Sure.
earlier? Like, what if it's just like ingrained from where they grew
I
up?
would think it would be instinct to not be a liberal cuck soy boy too, though, right? That seems instinctual, but maybe it's not just purely instinct. So if we're backing up, though, what would be the incentive for somebody who lives in modernity, a man who lives in modernity, makes tons of cash, right? And he doesn't see really any value in being a provider when he can just basically go out and hump whatever woman he wants. What would be the principal underpinning behind that? So you said you were raised in a Christian household, so you probably assume in your head the way that you think about it is it's supposed to be man, woman, children, devoted wife, right? Head of household, husband. These are the examples that you see.
Right.
Do you know why that becomes ingrained though? It's because those are examples that work. And so you look your whole life and you look around you and you see all kinds of examples that don't work. Traditionalism is really just the study of experiments that worked. That's an experiment that always works. Seems to work the best out of every other
It didn't
experiment.
work for my parents. That's
It
all.
doesn't always work.
Yeah.
Right? Of course not. But even if your parents split, that doesn't mean they won't enter into another traditional relationship with other people, right? So again, this is the experiment again seeming to work as it's supposed to. Even if with these two people it did not work, doesn't mean they're not going to look for a reformation for exactly that same kind of relationship again. That's the examples that we see that work the most. And so that's why we kind of are always looking at them and going, okay, why does this work? So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like that. I don't think that's relevant to like the original point, though.
I think it is, because what you're after is you seem to be after all the values of somebody who has an underpinning ethical system. The ethical system being, what are the things you value? Honesty, right? Integrity, honor. Part of that, the nature of I provide for woman, I take care of wife doesn't have to work, right? I'll kill myself at the factory every day to make sure the family's taken care of. There has to be some kind of underpinning there for ethics, right? Otherwise, why the hell would you do it?
Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying like,
I'm saying that absent the ethical part, I don't think you can arrive at the traditional part. I don't think it's easy to arrive there.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be a single mom. I have a child, and I would not be able to do it alone. I just got a C-section, and I was in the ICU for septic shock. And, you know, my boyfriend had to step up and take care of my kid. I was literally dying on my deathbed, and I had to get blood transfusions, everything. I don't know how some women do it alone. That is like, it's sad that, you know, some women go through it, but that's definitely, you want a partner that's going to stick by you. Now, I couldn't even put on my own underwear.
But weren't you with this guy for 3 months before?
Well, no, I knew him for a long time before then. I
Yeah, I
him
know,
for
but
4 years.
romantically, right?
Romantically, yeah, we'd hang out in like groups.
So wasn't that just a gamble?
Well, I guess I took his word for it when he told me that he was serious and he did want a family and a serious relationship. And it just so happened that we got along and we have very similar interests. So, I mean, it worked.
But I mean, if you were to take yourself out of your shoes, this worked,
yeah,
right, for you?
This did work, yeah.
You would never recommend it for somebody else, though, right?
Honestly, I got really lucky. I
Yeah.
won it because maybe they would end up a single mom, honestly.
Right.
And-
Right, that's what I'm saying. Is like,
Yeah.
I understand the principle of what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's really difficult. It seems
Can't
like
even-
it seems like
yeah.
it seems stupid that a woman would actually choose to be a single mom, though they do.
Yes.
Because you're right. It takes there's a lot more
Takes a
work
village.
involved than well, it
not
doesn't
good
take
for
a
the
village, but it does take a dad.
And also, like, you don't want your child growing up, hey, mommy and daddy are dating different people. That's not a good example. No. You know, that's just, you know, it happens.
A good example
It
of what, though?
happens. Good example of having a traditional household.
Of having
Yeah.
underpinning,
And then they're gonna-
ethical underpinnings,
Yeah,
right?
and then my daughter is going to grow up, well, my mommy and daddy weren't together, so I'm going to go be a single mom.
Right.
Hypothetically, you know? Not my situation,
I mean,
but
that
that's
depends
not,
how you like view the world, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
it
I'm not
works
gonna
for
go
some
around,
people.
like, for me personally, because I did grow up in a certain way, I'm striving to not have that happen.
Yeah.
Not to be like, you know.
Nobody,
what I
you
mean?
know.
Like,
Wait, hold on. Because
just
you
as
grew
far
up
as
in a
like
certain
divorce.
way. Wait. You don't want, so you do want to get married one day.
Yeah.
You do want to have
course.
kids.
Absolutely.
But don't you think simply by virtue of the work that you've done, that's going to make it much more difficult to have a stable relationship? No impact whatsoever on the.
It'll definitely have an impact, but for me, like, again, as I was saying, like,
well, how
it doesn't need to be like the concrete, like.
But if it'll
traditional
definitely,
man.
but if it'll definitely have an impact, wouldn't that have an impact on the likelihood of the success of the relationship?
No, because I'm not gonna get married to someone that I have like things like about my past. You know, like if you're mad that I did this job, you're not the one for me. You know.
But what if it introduces issues down the line in your relationship that materialize years later? Or for example, this is perhaps one you won't be able to avoid if you said you want to have kids. Okay, what sort of complications will be introduced into not only your relationship with your partner, but your relationship with your children, which will invariably introduce issues with your partner if the child is bullied, for example, because of the work you've done?
I mean, I'm planning to have kids in like 15 years. Like, I don't
Internet's
know
forever.
how would they.
You never know.
about-
You don't think
You
Internet's
never know when
forever.
you're going to have
see
kids.
videos of you in 15 years from now? And not only that, but
It'll be holographic.
Have a kid
then.
next week.
not only that, but
Well,
in
get
15 years
pregnant.
from now, the father of that child will still be the father, and you could choose that father from today, and they could be the father in 15 years. And I don't think doing the industry that you're in. I'm sorry, was I not clear?
I understood what she
Okay.
said.
Okay,
I
just keep
kind
going,
of
keep
know,
going,
yeah.
keep
I
going.
understood.
No, you weren't clear. No, I'm kidding.
I
Go
can
ahead.
rephrase it. But, and also, so the father that you choose now could be the father of your kids in 15 years. And the father that you choose most likely won't be a better father while you're in the industry. Like, do you really think you're more likely to get a good man in the industry that you're in, or are you more likely to not get a good man while you're in the industry?
I mean, based off of their argument, it would be I'm less likely.
But what do you think?
For me, like, I mean, I don't really care. Like, for me, like,
Wait, no,
I'm
but
not
you
even
do care.
looking
Hold
for
on,
a man.
hold on. But you do care because you said that due to your past experiences, yourself as a child, you said you don't want that for you and you don't want that for your future children.
Correct.
You said you don't want what happened to your parents to happen to you.
Correct.
But simply by virtue of the work you've done and the work you do, it has increased the likelihood that that will be the outcome. It's not a
Absolutely.
guarantee.
I never denied
Not
that,
a guarantee,
ever.
but it's
Right.
increased the likelihood
Right.
of that outcome.
Significantly.
Yeah. I mean, true.
And when you have a kid, you're going to want to protect them and, you know,
I'll
want the
protect
best
my
for them.
kids, but I mean, it doesn't have to be in the context of what I used to do for work. I mean, I know a lot of girls that I grew up with and their moms were strippers and stuff, you know,
But-
and like no one cared. It's just like I feel like shaming
They cared.
someone for
Andrew
their
cared.
past
They
at the end
cared.
of the day. Well, I mean,
Wait,
okay.
sorry, go ahead. Finish
But what I
shaming.
was saying is that shaming people for their past, like, obviously that's an issue, but I feel like.
Wait, why?
Well, it's an issue because, like, as you were saying, like,
Would you date a broke guy?
a broke guy,
Would you date a broke guy?
I have in the past,
What-
yeah.
Okay, was that the question?
No.
Would you
But
date,
would I now?
would you date a-
Absolutely not.
Well, so hold on. Because of a man's perhaps lack of action, his current state of affairs, he's broke. Perhaps, and this is due in part or in totality to actions or lack of actions he took in the past. So you are essentially shaming him for his past actions
No.
by not being at a place financially that you deem acceptable in the present.
But that's not the same as shaming them. I'm not shaming you for being broke. Like,
Bro, you
So you wouldn't,
chicks
like-
shamed
I-
Bills by Destiny's Child, TLC, No
No
Scrubs.
Scrubs.
I have no idea.
I
about
mean-
it.
Bro, you,
Am
come
I
on.
TLC?
Hey, but does a
Like-
does a
you
man
wouldn't-
want a broke woman?
So, I mean,
Men don't
men
care.
don't care.
What about
yeah,
what
men
about
don't care.
shaming women for their future?
I-
Like, for instance, I hear you. Okay, that's fair. Shouldn't shame me for what I did a week ago,
Right.
10 days ago, 20 days ago. But what if the perception is, okay, but you're going to do this again tomorrow and next Tuesday and next Thursday? Is that okay then to shame? Or is it just what you're really saying is just not okay to shame people?
I didn't say it wasn't okay to shame people, but in the context of what we were saying, which was my job, which I'm not the only person in the world that has a controversial job.
I agree.
Right?
Sure.
It's just like what you guys were saying was coming under the context that it would cause an issue. I don't even know. Like, I could die tomorrow, like, and none of this would even matter.
Yeah, but what do you think?
You know what I meant? You know what I mean? Like,
but if you're when you live your life, you live your life through risk mitigation, whether you think so or not. You don't blow through red lights, right? How come? How come you don't blow through red lights for fun?
illegal.
You're most likely going to
If, let's say it was legal, would you blow through red lights for fun?
No.
Why?
Because I would get T-boned.
Oh, so you're mitigating risk,
Right.
right? Do you want to get into a car that had shaky wheels?
No.
No. Why?
Because it's dangerous.
And so you're what? Mitigating
it's,
risk.
It's risk.
You're mitigating risk. So you live your entire life mitigating risk. Doesn't it sound like a little bit of cope to say, well, it just so happens that I'm in this industry which has a high risk associated with it. I just don't care about mitigating it.
I mean, couldn't you say the same thing about, like, police officers or something, like, that put their life on the line every day? Like, that
It's a very
just
safe job. Very few police officers die yearly.
Sorry, can I say
But
something?
it's like,
In a second,
that
hang on, let us
doesn't
finish the
relate to the
exchange.
point. Because
I think it does relate to the point.
How?
Well, because if we're
The
talking
point
about
was-
if we're talking about risk mitigation, assume for a second that every single police officer got shot while they were on duty. Do you think that anybody'd want to be a police officer?
No.
No, probably not, right? But if you were to have acceptable risk where you go, okay, almost no police officers actually get shot on duty. Now, that seems like it's not that much of a risky job, right? However, when you're talking about doing corn, for instance, what do you think the risk likelihoods increase that they don't end up with happy marriages with traditional men?
I don't know the statistics, so I can't say anything.
If I
You
were
know,
to
it's
tell
all
you,
a what
though,
if.
let's just say I were to tell you, a ridiculous number, like it's 95%, would that even change your mind? Would you stop doing it tomorrow? The truth.
No.
No. So then it does. So then I don't even know why ask me the question of, but I don't know the statistic, regardless of what the statistic was. If it was 100%, you still wouldn't stop, right?
No.
So then ultimately, you're just saying to hell with risk mitigation in this.
Right.
Because I want to fucking do it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's life. You make choices and there's consequences. I'm not denying. I never denied the consequences. I'll say that. I'm not like delusional. Like I understand.
Well, I'm not saying you're delusional.
There is a point, you know, and there is like a place where, you know, it might be an issue in my life.
But
Yeah.
for that,
But what
I
if in
understand that.
10 years, though, you remember that you were on this random podcast with this asshole who told you, don't continue. You could stop now and it'll mitigate risk overnight. You can just stop. You can go get a job as a secretary. You can go get a job as a car salesman. You can go get a job as a I don't know, fucking stand-in teacher somewhere. You can do anything but this, and your life's outcome is going to likely be better, right? Wouldn't it be better if when you think about that objectively, to not kick yourself in the ass in 10 years and go, fuck, I should have listened to that guy, and instead just quit, do anything other than that?
Well, if that happens, I'll find you and take you out to a nice dinner.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Can I say something?
No, you're going to find me, and here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, right? 10 years, I'll get the phone call, and you're going to say, man, Andrew, you were so right about this, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to go, I told you, dummy, right? Because that's social shaming. The hope there is that you'll take that laughter and internalize it, and it'll make you seethe with anger so that you'll speak out in 10 years to the next generation and say, this didn't work out so well.
Life, you know, you learn things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll go my way, and I'll call you and be like, "Yo, it worked out," and laugh in your face.
Maybe.